Welcome back to my channel. Today is story time. I'll be giving you guys hot gist. I'll be talking about how I transitioned to tech, and I'll also be talking about my salary increases year on year, which has amassed up to 475 times now. Anyways, I'll be talking about the industries that I worked in and the kind of roles that I was doing as well in those companies. Also, I'll be sharing tips on how you can also increase your own salary. Let's get into it. My transition to tech is very unique. There are just a few people who have that path. So remember, this video is just me sharing my story. Remember, it's a story time. I'm sharing my story, and I'm hoping that maybe someone can be motivated and can learn from it. It doesn't mean that your past must be like that. So I just have to put out this disclaimer. Anyways, my transition to tech. So I had a friend who encouraged me and motivated me to start, and it was very timely because that was the same time that the world was shutting down because of coronavirus. So very early in 2020, I started taking courses, PM courses, and I got my first job in 3 weeks. So the same person who encouraged me and motivated me to transition to product management was the person who brought me on that project. And I got to work with, a developer, a designer, and then other stakeholders on the team. And that was my very first role. I mean, it was very challenging, it was very tasking, but I threw my whole life into, trying to become a PM or trying to transition properly. And yeah, I wrote about my transition. I'm going to link the Medium article down in the description box. So the same thing that I tell people who are trying to transition to product management, especially people who have certain kinds of backgrounds, you realize that in being a PM, there's some skills that are transferable. In fact, there are a lot of skills that are transferable from your former role. So I was doing strategy and project management in the oil and gas company before I moved to being a product manager, so it just like blended into it. So I would say that I had somewhat of an upper hand because I had like transferable skills, and I also had a genuine love for user research, and it really helps me. Anyways, that same year, I believed what really like made me stand out or stand apart was me trying to share my knowledge every chance I got. Remember the friend who motivated me, got me my first job? Still the same friend who encouraged me to put myself out there and try as much as possible to put out any kind of knowledge that I have, no matter what it is or no matter what it was at the time. So I was reading books, I was watching videos, I was taking courses, and when I see something profound or when I see something that just like gets to me or strikes me, I will tweet about it, I'll write about it. It was something that I was doing constantly to just put myself out there for people to know that, oh, Princess is now a product manager. I believe that was one of the reasons why I even created like a Twitter account, so I would be able to talk more on that platform and just talk about like product management in general. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get down to business. So why are we here today? We're here to talk about how I increased my salary. So now I have my laptop here with me. It's just in front of me, and it has some relevant information, and I need that information in front of me so I don't mess things up. So I'll be looking down once in a while, and please don't fret, I just need it in front of me. Anyways, I won't be sharing specific salary numbers in this video. What matters more is the mindset and actions that would help us drive progress, and that's what we should focus on today. So I'm on it now. I'm going to talk about my salary progression year on year, and then at the end of doing that, I'm going to talk about how you can increase your salaries. So work with me. My very first job was with a health tech company, and I was in charge of project delivery, I was in charge of documentation, and just every other PM task on the team. And how did I get this job? Via recommendation. I already mentioned this. Anyway, I started with that job. I didn't negotiate that salary. The salary was negotiated for me, and I didn't really have a choice. I wasn't unhappy about it because I was just happy to have something to do. I was happy to have a job, and I was happy that the job came the way it came. I didn't have to struggle so much to get it. The next job I got was the same year, the same 2020, and it was a health tech job as well. So someone on LinkedIn had DM'd me and said they were looking for a product manager, and I was like, oh yes, I'm open to it. By this time I had gained more confidence because I had work experience at the very first health tech company that I worked with. So I negotiated a 25% increase because, in quotes, my hands were now very strong at that time, so I was able to like negotiate an increase in the salary that I was getting from the former one. So yeah, that's how I got my very first increase, which was a 25% increase. In the same year, I got a DM from a mutual friend, and the person was asking if I was open to work on a project, on a HRM project, and I was like, oh yeah, bring it on. And when he asked me how much am I charging, I negotiated a 200% increase from the current one. So in 2020 as a whole, from my very first salary that I got to the last one, so I got 3 freelance jobs in 2020, and in total from the first and the last one I got a 275% increase. That is, I had multiplied my starting salary by 3.75. So let's say at the beginning of the year my first salary was 10,000 naira. At the end of the year my salary was now 37,500. So now we're moving on to 2021. And in 2021, or rather towards the end of 2020, I decided not to do freelance work anymore. I just wanted to do like a full-time role. I wanted to have a full-time job. And then I wrote down a list of companies that I wanted to work for, and I said I was going to reach out to the CEOs, the founders, or I'll reach out to like very important stakeholders in that company or in those companies, and tell them that I want to work for them, just put myself together and like pitch myself to them. So that was my plan. And in December I actually started. So the top of my list was the company that I eventually worked for. I reached out to the CEO and founder, and then he responded. So I actually shot my shot at him, and then I sent a follow-up message, and then he responded. Then we did like a series of interviews, and that's how I got the job. The salary that this full-time job was offering was a 21% decrease. I mean, that would have been, oh my god, this is a bad sign. Am I supposed to go full-time now? Anyways, I was ready to take that pay cut because I had a goal. I wanted a full-time role. And interestingly, I got another offer from another company, and they were offering 3 times more than what the current job was offering at that time. And I had to weigh my options, and after weighing my options I rejected the other company, and then I picked this one. So in the first 3 months working at this new company that I took the pay cut, I got a promotion, and my salary increased by 166% in 3 months working in that company. I put my heart, my soul, my body, my everything into this job. So the promotion didn't come as a shock at all. In fact, it was something that I was going to bring up after 3 months, because joining the company, it was more like, oh, we've not had a PM before. I was the first PM hire, and I had to like prove myself that I could handle the job and I could do this. This would be my first fintech company. So for the first 90 days, I was working like a jack. Like I was doing all sorts just to ensure that I put in my best and I show up and show out. So in 2021, my total salary increase was 112%, and that means the salary that I entered 2021 with was increased by 3 times. Now let's go to 2022. So in the same company, in 2022 my salary grew twice. The first one was a 16% increase. This was the company-wide salary increases, and after some negotiations on my end, it increased to 65%. They were real serious negotiations. we talked about heavy stuff. And at the end of 2022, I had a general increase of 91.5% in my salary. So this increases, this like general increases I'm mentioning, remember, whatever I entered that year with, at the end of the year, I'm sharing the increase. So I had a 91.5% increase in that year. That is, my salary almost doubled in this particular year. Now we're in 2023. Things have become really interesting in this year, but my salary did not suffer. So in 2023, I got an increment in my salary about 43%, and a few months after, there was a bump to 418.43%. I'll explain that later. So at the end of 2023, I had a 641.35% increase. That is, my salary increased 7 times. That is, if I entered the year with 10,000 naira as my salary, at the end of the year, I was earning 70,000 naira. So I'm using naira because I recently moved to the UK about 2 years ago. And aside that, like, I was actually earning in naira. So it's easy to just use naira to make these examples. So now let's get to 2024. Another interesting year, 2024, which is last year. So I got a 286.33% increase due to change of jobs and also due to change of currency. So I started earning a higher currency. So that caused like that bump as well. So I'm done with my 5-year PM career. I've done 2020, I've done 2021, I've done 2022, I've done 2023, I've done 2024. That's 5 years as a product manager. So from 2020 to date, my salary has increased by 47,400%. Okay. That is in 5 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 5 years in tech. My starting salary has multiplied by 475 times. So let's say I started my tech career with 10,000 naira at the first health tech company. My current salary would now be 4,750,000 naira. Now let's get to how I made the increase happen. So I put some notes here, so I'll still be looking down into my laptop, bear with me. So the very first thing I want to talk about is building a strong personal brand and network. I've mentioned this before in a video that I made. The video was about like career mistakes that we should avoid. I talked about building a personal brand. I also talked about building a personal brand in the recent YouTube video I did about networking. So if you've not been watching my YouTube videos, please take some time and go and watch the old videos so you can get a grasp of what I mean when I say you should build your personal brand and, you know, build a strong network. Remember at the beginning of this video when I was talking about how I got my first job, it was based on referral. How did I get the second job? A LinkedIn DM. How did I get the third job? You know, the 3 freelance jobs that I did, the third one was someone who knew me and knew that I was doing product management. Even the first full-time role that I had, I shot my shot at the CEO. And I believe that there was some, you know, branding involved and, you know, some kind of like put togetherness that made him even give me the audience in the first place. Now, moving on to after that job, the very next full-time job that I had was also because of a referral and a recommendation. So what does this say? Almost all the jobs that I've had, in fact, all the jobs that I've had were jobs that I didn't have to apply for. So I didn't go to any online place to say, oh my God, I'm looking for a job and I'm applying here. No, it either comes to me because someone else hears about the job opportunity and says, oh, Princess will be a good fit for this role, or the person knows me and the person is looking for a PM, so the person just reaches out to me directly. So I don't know if there's any other thing I need to say more about this, but there is a whole section in 2 of my videos talking about building a personal brand, so go check it out. The next point I want to talk about is picking high growth industries and companies. So for you to get paid the kind of salaries that you want to see, or the kind of salaries that you really want, the kind of high salaries that you crave, you need to work in industries that have that kind of money to spend. So right now, what's buzzing? AI. So a lot of AI companies are like very well funded, so they're able to pay as much as possible. So if you're working in the AI industry, or if you're an AI PM working in any industry at all, as far as there's AI attached to you somehow, you get paid much more than any other generalist PM. People always talk about, oh, everybody's building fintech, or everybody wants to be a fintech product manager. It's because the fintech companies pay more. So you would see someone in fintech earning a certain amount, and then someone in another industry is earning just like a third of that, and they are like on the same seniority level. Sometimes the other PM may even be like on a higher seniority level than the fintech PM, but because they are in an industry, or they are in a company that is high growth, that has a lot of funding, they are able to earn more there. So you can research what are the high growth industries today, and start seeing how you can tailor yourself to work for those companies, or be a PM that has the skills that those companies are looking for. Another advantage of working in high growth companies is because you can scale up in your position very fast. You can take on a lot of responsibilities. In a startup where everyone is just trying to put themselves together to get the job done, you will have a lot of opportunities. The growth opportunities are limitless in those kinds of places. So now we're going to talk about taking on high impact roles and ownership. So in a team here, you can already see the people who are earning more than others. Like, this does not even have anything to do with industry. Let's even come out of industry or companies. Let's just look at a general team or a random team. There's some high paying roles already. Is your role part of those high paying roles? Are there things that those high paying roles people are doing that you want to start doing, so that you can transition to become that person? Now, on this same high impact role, we're going to talk about the flip side of it. Not necessarily the flip side, just an add-on. It's more like taking on responsibilities within the team that you can see. So while growing in my career, I have never just done only my job. So every single place I have worked, even before tech, I have never done just my job. In fact, the company that I joined before tech, the side thing became my main thing. Like, I was given something to do on the side, but that became like my major thing that I was doing. When people see that you're ready to pick up stuff, they will keep bringing stuff to you. So ultimately, I want to be that person that if they need work to get done, especially hard work or challenging work, I want to be the person that comes to their mind. I want to be the person that they say, oh, if we bring Princess to this role, she'll be able to deliver, and she'll be able to deliver excellently. So number 4 is improving your salary negotiation. Very important. And knowing when to move jobs. So talking about improving salary negotiations, remember earlier I mentioned something about a negotiation that I did, and my salary was bumped after that negotiation. So you need to know how to negotiate your salary. So there are 2 phases: before you join a company and after you join a company. Before you join a company, the salary negotiations are not just around like the cash. You also have to negotiate the non-cash benefits, and there are a plethora of options for non-cash benefits, like a lot. So you have to do your research based on your role, your seniority level, and the industry that you're in. Ask people questions. You need to know more. Do your research to know, and always negotiate non-cash benefits alongside cash benefits. Now you're on the job, you also need to know how to negotiate your salary while you are on the job. So one of the things would be to track your work progress. Yes. So you're writing down the things that you're doing, you're tracking your work progress, and you're seeing how well you're improving within the team. You're tracking your successes and even failures if there are failures, and you're also taking feedback. You have like a document where you put these things, and you need to come with your strong reasons. What are your strong reasons? What have you been able to accomplish? What have you been able to push? What are the outcomes that the company can actually see and touch and feel to know that yes, this person has actually put this work in? And then sometimes you can also negotiate on titles. You don't have to also always negotiate on cash. It can be a title negotiation, like, oh, the company is not able to give me this cash right now, but let us negotiate on the seniority level, and change it from this to this right now, and then later on when the company has the budget for me, we would now move on to the actual budget for my role with the new title. Now, talking about knowing when to move jobs, you need to know when to leave a job. I wrote an article about thriving as a career woman, and in that article I talked about like knowing your value, checking for growth opportunities. There's some things that you should check out for in your workspace. If those things are not in your company or in your workplace, you should start thinking of moving. So most times, aside from leaving a toxic work environment, leaving a place that does not serve you, salary is also a reason why people would move. And most times they move because the former company is not even trying to look for ways to compensate you or compensate them. So it's more like this has been your salary for like 4 or 5 years and they're not trying to do anything about it. It might be time to leave that place. So now to our final point: move to global markets. So if you notice, in my salary progression, there were 2 spikes, like very heavy spikes. That's because I moved to global markets, meaning you now earn in a currency that is no longer your local currency. So as a Nigerian, my local currency was Naira, right? So moving to start earning like USD or GBP, like that goes without saying. I don't need to say too much here. You need to find a way to move to the global market. You need to find a way to start getting jobs that are outside your locality. So put yourself out there, do everything that we've mentioned in this call, build your network, go to remote jobs websites, see how you can apply for those jobs, all in a bid to get access to start earning USD or GBP or any other currency that is not your local currency. So I'm just going through my notes here to make sure that I don't miss out on anything, because I wrote some important notes down and I want to make sure that I cover everything. So anyway, that's my journey, how I went from my starting point to increasing my salary by 475 times in just 5 years in tech. Anyway, I'm looking back now, I'm just thinking it wasn't overnight. It didn't happen like magic, because some people are expecting magic, but it didn't just happen like that, and it definitely wasn't easy. But yeah, I was intentional about the places that I wanted to work. I was intentional about the relationships that I built. I was intentional about taking ownership in the jobs that I was doing. Like, there's no team or job, there's nothing you would give me that I would not put my whole heart and soul and mind and body into it. Like, I'm always all in for the projects that I handle. So I'm very proud of that, and I was always pushing for what I thought that I deserved at the time. So there was even one time that I got a promotion, but I did not like the promotion. I had to push, and I was like, I don't like this promotion. I need to get so and so amount, or I need this to be increased by this amount. This amount is too small for a promotion. These are the things that I was able to achieve in the past year. This and this, I brought forth my strong reasons, and I mentioned that already, and that's something you should do. Putting down the things that you've done before will give you the confidence to actually fight and push for what you deserve. So anyway, I was able to grow in ways that I never even imagined. And if there's one thing that I've learned, is that your growth is in your hands. Honestly, it's not in anybody's hands, it's in your hands. The right opportunities are out there waiting for you, and you have to position yourself for them. So you keep learning, you keep showing up, and don't be afraid to ask for more, honestly. So I've gone through the notes now, and I think I have mentioned everything. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel as well if you're not yet subscribed. Also, comment and tell me which of these tips have helped you or which of them you want to try. Also, if you know someone who may like the videos that I share or these kinds of videos, please share this link with them. Let them also be motivated and inspired to want more for themselves. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Bye. See you in the next one.